Hi there. I'm Akura and I am a shamanic healer and a Bufo medicine woman. Although I have and do still offer other medicinal ceremonies, primarily though I offer working with the entheogen medicine known as Bufo alvarius toad medicine, otherwise known as 5-MeO DMT. If you are watching this, it is probably because you are considering this direction for yourself to support your healing and awakening journey and to discover what awaits you in that experience, which is likely to be very life changing and very profound, as this medicine has, for good reason, the reputation of being the breakthrough medicine of all the medicines, the nutcracker. It is really good at getting you out of your own way of your control so as to be ushered into your surrender, because on the other side of your surrender or your letting go is what awaits you in the breakthrough. And this is very much how this medicine works on a multidimensional level, somatically, experientially, beyond time and space, beyond your logic, and even being able to conceptualize possibility in what you can access in a very short amount of time. It's like exploring impossibility made possible, the miraculous being witnessed and experienced. So, therefore, it has big shoes to fill in someone's calling. If this medicine has reached you in curiosity, usually it's a seed being planted, awaiting fruition for your readiness to basically discover how you might not only heal for you on behalf of yourself, but also your ancestry, your lineage, your future descendants, your children, this planet, humanity, our brothers and sisters. And there is a profound sense of awareness that when you are in this medicine space, that the healing work that you do and what you're able to access not only benefits you on many different levels, but beyond you. And so there is very much a sense of purposefulness and meaningfulness in being willing to confront your fears, your shadows, your limitations, your what is holding you back, what is creating suffering that you've embodied. Could be this whole lifetime, could be beyond this lifetime, could be ancient on a soul level back to the origin of time, in what you are able to access and or heal or address. And I say these things and they might sound sensational, is a word someone else has used before, but I mean every word that I say. I'm very particular on my language to do my best to convey the possibility, the potentiality of how this medicine not only may impact you in the journey itself, working with it, but also how it ripples into your experience, into your reality, into your relationships afterwards. Because your life will inevitably begin to shift around you, especially if you understand universal laws, one of them being the law of attraction, is, you create your reality as a mirror reflection to you. and where your energy is, and like what your energy is enhancing, what your energy is focusing on, whether you are intentionalizing what you may be unknowingly creating by virtue of sometimes our patterns, our karma, so it's not always what we're focused on. It could be the unresolved things in our field that is creating mirror reflections for us in our life, in our health, in our relationships. It is all an opportunity to look at the self and heal and address you. And this medicine, the Bufo alvarius toad medicine, is on such a beyond level of what, like I said, you can heal and address in each dose lasting an average of 15 to 30 minutes. So to be able to address lifetimes worth of things, of stuff, of crud, of ancient yuck, and activate and initiate, step into your gifts, step into your truth, your power, your femininity, your masculinity, your voice, your truth, unapologetically. This medicine is incomparable, in my opinion, to even ayahuasca, even peyote, and some of the other medicines, even though they all have their place and they can all be amazing teachers and healers. There is a reason why I primarily work now with the toad medicine, and I have been working with it since 2019, and I have been facilitating it in ceremonies since 2021. So over 4 years as far as serving it exclusively. And I wanted to kind of go over what can be expected, the frequently asked questions, how to prepare, what to expect. And that way you can see if this is a yes for you. Even if, yes, you are likely to be scared or anxious or nervous with the unknown, which is natural for anybody confronting the unknown of trying anything new for the first time. So that is normal. But what I will say is that going in versus coming out of the experience, the version of you that comes out is lighter, freer, more liberated, more knowing, able to move forward. People have, freed themselves from addictions, from lifetimes worth of trauma, to stripping away falsehoods and illusions and deceptions about themselves, about reality, reversing illness and disease because they're getting to the root cause. And that's what this medicine is really good at. It's really good at getting to the origin root and helping you release and purge that out. And so I'm going to go over a few things that I feel like is going to be relevant and what you might want to know. To start with, I source my medicine from members of the Siri tribe, and they have a sanctuary in the Sonoran Desert in Mexico where they harvest the medicine in ethical means, harmonious to the toad so that they're not stripping the toad from its natural defense mechanisms as would be in the wild. And so they do it in more of what is excess, kind of like massaging out what is more excess and pressure. And, they do it in a sanctified manner. And that is who I source my medicine from. And in fact, I am currently dedicating a portion of my ceremony donations to my medicine supplier who is trying to raise money for cancer treatment and healing in that regard for their loved one. And so not only does you supporting your own healing journey and myself and holding that space for you in my container with this medicine, but I am dedicating some of that donation to help support the healing journey of my supplier that makes this medicine available to me so I can make it available to you. Which is really important to me to be able to keep doing that, because I am witnessing and a part of powerfully transformative healing journeys for so many people. And I don't take what I do lightly. I am very passionate about this work, about my offerings with this medicine, and to do my best to be as integritous and ethical as possible in the way I hold space and honoring of boundaries and navigating and helping you navigate the shifting tides of what you may encounter in such an experience. So that being said, what to expect and how to prepare, at least the way I facilitate, it is also important to know that even though I source my medicine from the Siri tribe, I do not facilitate in any indigenous way of their methodology of holding space. The way I hold space is the way I've been taught via spirit realm and the medicines itself, and where I've been initiated and what my soul has been embarking on a journey for many, many, many lifetimes in remembrance of who I am and what I am here to do in my mission and my walk in activating and helping people heal, as that too is a ripple effect for everyone I help and turn on their light and help them access forward momentum. That is who they then get to become for everybody else that crosses their path. And so it is something that pays itself forward. So after we've established that we would like to work together and you resonate with maybe what I'm sharing here, or perhaps we've had a private conversation so you could ask your questions, we will then go ahead and try to book your appointment with mutual availability. I try to remain flexible so as to be able to adapt to mutual availability of both yourself and myself to offer this medicine. So let me know what that is for you. I'm also looking at creating recurring group ceremonies monthly, where that may be a more affordable option to do in a group setting versus one-on-one. Although I do recommend still having your one-on-one experience so that you can focus on yourself and your journey exclusive to you and what we can do together. But either way, it's a potent, powerful experience, whether you're doing it with yourself and me and or others or as a couple. No matter what, you're going to get what you came for. So once we've set your appointment, the preparation would be that you would want to minimize your eating or stop eating a few hours prior to your session, and I'll go over this with you personally, mostly so that you're fully digested before going into the medicine. I will also want to find out if you have any health concerns or if you are on any medications or substance abuse, if you have any, addictions or anything like that, to be made aware of that before we move forward with setting your appointment so we can evaluate the best steps for you. At that point, most of what you can expect, especially for like a one-on-one session, group sessions, ceremonies, can differ because I'm very adaptable to who comes in and how we navigate the facilitation based on the intentions of the individuals in the group involved. And so that process is still somewhat flexible. But upon coming in, usually for your session or your ceremony, we'll first talk about your intentions. What are you asking this medicine to do for you? Keep in mind, it is beyond in possibility. So if anything were possible, what would you ask? What would you want? What are you asking it to help you with? So really leading into the Bufo space, or any medicine space for that matter, is to get really clear about your intentions. What are you seeking? Afterwards, I do also like to offer pulling oracle cards. Oftentimes there is messages that can be divined through that means that are either very relevant to what you need to receive in that moment for awareness, but also it may give a glimpse into what the medicine may be highlighting in your journey and bringing about for you. So I feel like that is another potent way to open up the container in setting those intentions. At which point I also do a energy clearing and sacred prayer to bring in your protections and higher guides and beings that we're working with, not only you but humanity in these times of awakening, and in alignment with what is true and what is truth, and setting the intentions of stepping into your sovereignty on a soul level while going into that space feeling spiritually protected. At that point, I will guide you into a little bit of breath work. That's mostly so you can oxygenate your blood so you can get in more of the medicine. At which point I will also demonstrate how to inhale the medicine, which will be smoking. And each dose lasts anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on average. Now, how many doses that would be made available to you would be dependent on whether or not we're doing a group ceremony versus an individual. Typically with individual ceremonies, I make up to 3 doses available, which means you can go in multiple times. When you smoke it, you hold it for as long as you can. By the time you exhale, we're already in the medicine space, navigating the experience, the journey on many different levels. And once the medicine wears off in about that time frame of 15 to 30 minutes-ish, when you're back, and you're fully cognizant, coherent here, yet shifted in whatever way the medicine brought to your awareness or helped you purge and release what was no longer serving you. That being said, going into what can be expected for the somatic experience, the release, the purging. Typically, you are likely to more spit saliva into the bucket in a form of purge. It can feel like you're heaving, kind of like as if you were throwing up, but actually what you're mostly releasing is just more like spitting of saliva. I find that Bufo, in comparison to working with other medicines like ayahuasca or combo or even mushrooms and things like that, that are typically associated with purging through vomiting, I find Bufo to be much easier on your system for this reason, because you're not actually puking, typically, unless, of course, you didn't follow my advice and ate within a closer time frame of your ceremony, then your food may not be fully digested, and it is more likely that you could actually puke. But typically, it's usually more saliva based if you were to purge in that manner. You might cry. Crying is a form of release and cleansing and purification through your tears, washing away. So you may have different stages of release through the different types of tears you could shed. It really depends on what you're processing. Screaming is a very powerful way of release. It usually digs real deep into the root chakra and blocked throat chakra in freeing and liberating your voice and getting rid of a lot of stuck, icky energy, whatever that is, shadows, other parasitic energies that are not serving, to release whatever that is and wherever it stems from. Other common ways of release is moving energy. So people may shake or somatically move physically in however the medicine is working with you in that regard. Now, keep in mind, while you may be experiencing this physically, somatically in different forms of release, you could experience one or phases of all of these options. But while you're in the journey, you may have part awareness of your physical self and the other part deep within your experience, where you might come back and forth in different sets of awareness of here and body versus deep in your experience. Or it is also very likely or possible that you could be so deep in your experience that you lose a sense of awareness in that interim of what your physical self is doing. And in that instance, you may also experience different levels of so-called amnesia, therefore, of what your physical body was doing while maybe you were processing in your journey space. And that is pretty normal with this type of medicine. And I can give you more insight into this if you're curious as to what that's like. I do oftentimes, as long as I have memory left on my phone, make the option available that if you would like to video record your journey, that we may be able to do that as a means to access and recall what your experience was like while you were in the medicine, especially if you have amnesia regarding parts of it or some of it, or sometimes even all of it, because sometimes you can merge with God's source creator in a sense of oneness and love and bliss that, it's like a dissolution of the ego, of illusion, of all of it, right? So there is that possibility. Let's see. Yes, so after each dose, we'll check in and see if you are feeling called to go further and deeper and see what else is possible. Another thing to know is, in the way I hold space, is I do take a bit of the medicine with you so that I am attuned to you while in the medicine space, so that way I can also help you navigate what you're encountering and what you're experiencing, so I can try to also meet your needs. And I am also helping to pull energies out that may not be serving, and also to attend to you spiritually on a metaphysical level of the journey, but also physically while you're in that space. So it's a little bit of a combination of both. And so what I really like to compare it to is that it is very much like a team effort. We are doing this work together. We are healing on behalf of the all together. And so I do believe that the work that we are doing in this space is very much so impacting and affecting in a ripple effect the collective of this planet and humanity and beyond. And I think once you go into such an experience, you'll know what I am saying in its implied meaning by having that experience for yourself, to know what it is that I am saying as an embodiment in knowing, not just a conceptual idea. Yeah, I would say that there's a reason why I'm also sharing lots of testimonials currently, most accessible on my Instagram at akura.tor, curator, curator. And it's akura.tor. So you can navigate and find those videos, so that way you can also explore into what are other people experiencing and claiming that they got out of their journey in their own words, in their own testimonial, in their own feedback and takeaway and reflection. And some of them have also permissed that I share some of the footage from maybe their personal ceremony with their testimonial. So everybody's different on what the permissions have been. So the video setups are curated based on those preferences and those permissions. So some will have footage from the ceremony, some prefer to leave it out. But obviously if they shared their testimonial, that they gave me permission to offer that for your ability to kind of assess, is this right for you? I would say that it has changed my life. It has healed me so much. My heart, my stepping into my divine feminine, my power, my voice, living life unapologetically, despite projections from other people in this world. You know, I have come to a space where I unashamedly and unapologetically show up as me in whatever way I feel that is right and authentic to me in that fucking moment. And that, I feel like, is a form of empowerment that at one point I didn't have that, you know, and I had to cultivate that. And a large part of that is because I've had to go to the depths of myself to do that, you know, to unravel the shit. And I'm still not saying my journey is over, but I've definitely accomplished a lot, and I know that. And I still see that even one ceremony for somebody can help them accomplish so much. That doesn't mean your journey's over, but what you can achieve in that one ceremony is still beyond the mind to even rationalize impossible. And that's what makes it so amazing. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, so as far as like expectations for even after the medicine, chances are there will be a ripple effect. Your dreams may be much more vivid, enhanced, pronounced. You may experience downloads, epiphanies, realizations, even after the fact, potent meetings with people that seem synchronistic, opportunities showing up, maybe some continuation of release and unraveling can follow sometimes, because the medicine is still working with you in your system for at least the first few weeks. Sometimes the taste or the smell can be reactivated in your experience. and a lot of people will report back on that. So it will also make you more sensitive to other substances like cannabis or anything else that you may work with, mushrooms. So being mindful of that, like less is more when you're working with other substances following a Bufo journey, because you can have like little activations afterwards that can have little residual feelings or ripplings that remind you of your Bufo ceremony. Let's see. But yeah, most importantly, afterwards for integration needs, obviously everybody's journey is unique to them. And so your integration needs are going to be unique to you. And for that, I would say it's really important to self-reflect. Afterwards, meet your needs, whatever that may be. Maybe that's to take a nice bath, soak. Maybe it's to go out into nature, reflect. Maybe it's to journal, process what's coming up, what still needs resolution perhaps, what needs further clarity or awareness. And maybe you're just in such a different frequency that life is just in a much better place and you don't need much in a support manner as far as needs for integration. So it's really important for you to take that time for you, especially afterwards, to self-reflect on what is coming up. What are you feeling? What are you no longer feeling? What no longer feels like instilled in you energetically, especially if you released some things, noticing the difference of how that difference feels. And then if in the chance that your journey was a little bit more intense and say it made you aware of certain traumas, for example, and maybe it helped you accomplish a lot with that, but maybe the job's not done there, and maybe you still need help and assistance to integrate that. That is where my shamanic journey facilitation, which is a non-medicinal guided approach to leading your consciousness into an out-of-body experience, which I've been doing that for over 12 years, which is its own standalone service. And what we can accomplish in that space is amazing as well. We can accomplish a lot. But that being said, that can support not only integration with medicine work, but also specifically go after, in a more thorough way, addressing your specific intentions or gaining clarity to questions you might have. For the mind to especially grasp what maybe you experienced in the journey with the medicine, right? Because it's beyond the mind. So your mind is going to want to monkey brain afterwards and want to try to process and make sense of something it cannot rationalize, because you cannot rationalize and make sense of such a potent, profound experience, yet nonetheless undeniably leave radically shifted and changed in a very potent way, in a very healed way, in possibility, whatever that is meant for you specifically. So if there is need for that, that's where I would suggest you consider reaching out to me about guiding you into a journey in a shamanic journey. And we can therefore more specifically cover a lot of territory in that regards. And if perhaps, you're curious about the medicine and you're not quite ready to go that route due to you're still kind of in your way, you're still got cold feet, you're scared, I get it, this other approach might be a good starting point for you if you feel you still want to do the work on yourself, but maybe you're not quite taking the leap of faith yet into the medicine world, or this medicine in particular. Then consider the shamanic journey route. And I'm happy to answer any questions in that regard as well. So, anyways, I think I've covered a lot of information that is more relevant to you. And the only other thing that can maybe be important would be, what is the suggested donation? So again, bear in mind, I am donation based, so my rates aren't fixed. However, I have like a guideline of what's fair for time, medicine, and skills and the offering, and what this is likely to help you with. And so I have my one-on-one offerings where the suggested donation is $5.55, but it's a sliding scale, so you are able to donate on either side of that. That would just be like the suggested middle ground. I understand even that sometimes is more than what people can afford. And those that can afford more and feel that it was worth it to you because you were able to heal lifetimes worth of stuff in a short amount of time, and you appreciate what it is the medicine did, but also what I facilitated in that for you, then if you feel inclined to, donate extra, like I said, I am also dedicating portion of those donations to raise funds for the person that gives me my medicine. So that helps that and helps me to get more medicine so I can keep offering this. So, I do rely on those donations. But if you can't afford that, let me know what you can afford and we can see if we can make something work. On occasion, I have also made some trades available depending on mutual desire of what is being offered and whatnot. But ultimately, my passion is to be in service, and that is what I'm here to do. And whatever I can do to support that in someone's journey, is what ultimately I'm passionate about. And yes, I do also need to afford to live life in the current three-dimensional realm, and do also at this time still, need financial support in that regard. So yeah, but I'm willing to work with you. If in case you want a more affordable option, that's where the group ceremonies can be maybe a better option, where maybe if you and some friends want to coordinate with me a date that would make each of your donation less, so that each one of you can benefit. Or unless I am specifically hosting a group and have extended the invite for participants, then you can inquire into that as well. Those are other ways where maybe I would make a more affordable option. So that way, if you are just wanting to be introduced to the medicine or want a way to continue revisiting the medicine in a way that you can afford, that is why I'm kind of looking into creating more of a recurring monthly ceremony that may be able to support that for those that are interested in that route as well. Anyways, I hope I've answered at least as many of the questions that you're likely to come in wanting to find out. And if there's anything else that I'm missing, feel free to shoot me a message, ask your questions, get curious, and I look forward to hopefully being a guide on your journey. I'm good at what I do. I love what I do. And I'm here for it all. So yeah, reach out and I look forward to seeing what awaits you.